I don't think it's fully appreciated the importance of the not-for-profit sector in the Australian economy. And it's ironic because so many people give to not-for-profit organisations, are members of not-for-profit organisations, volunteer to do pro bono work for organisations, often serve on the boards of not-for-profit organisations, and yet don't actually realise the full economic and social significance of those organisations. Now, Australia has something like 600,000 not-for-profit organisations. Many of them are all volunteers, many of them are just people coming together for their own interests. But there are about 50,000 economically significant not-for-profit organisations, and many of those are aiming to do good not just for their members but for society as a whole. Many of them we in the old days would have called charities. There are new organisations emerging which are not driven by not-for-profit. They're social enterprises which aim to make a surplus, but where the surplus goes back into social or community benefit. Now, I think it's an important area of our economy, enormously important for our civil society. And the challenges that are faced there in leadership are every bit as acute as in the private sector. And they can learn, the leaders there can learn from private sector business experience, which is why I've set up this Centre for Social Impact based at the Business School, Australian School of Business at the University of New South Wales, but also the business schools of UWA and of Swinburne and of Melbourne. And the aim, in part, is to make sure that everybody who is doing their MBA or MCOM comes out with some appreciation of the challenges of leadership in not-for-profit organisations and social enterprises, and an understanding of corporate responsibility and accountability. But also to take some of these people and have a graduate certificate, which we offer, to help them really focus on leadership in the non-profit area. Because these are odd organisations. They're driven by mission. Their values are crucial to what they do. Their ambitions will always outstrip their resources. And so you need people who can lead in this environment. It is no use saying, well, I've looked at what we do as a non-profit organisation and seen that there is one area here on which we're losing significant amounts of money and we need to get rid of it. That's not stewardship in the not-for-profit area, because that area which may be losing most money maybe be the most profound activity that is being undertaken, whether it's getting poor kids to school and giving them support, or dealing with homelessness, or trying to address Aboriginal disadvantage. And so it's a different sort of leadership required. Structures tend to be very flat, relatively low income, people who have got strong commitment, working as case workers and case managers, often working side by side with volunteers. These are really challenging leadership issues. And in fact, I think the more that not-for-profit leaders and private sector business leaders understand and can learn from each other, a two-way process, the better it is going to be. Because many of those for-profit leaders, of course, end up on the boards of the not-for-profit organisations. And it is important that both sides understand the business and leadership challenges that you face in not-for-profit organisations, where you have to sustain the vision, where you have to bring people together earning pretty low salaries or doing stuff pro bono because they've got this commitment to the cause, and to then lead those people in ways in which they don't burn themselves out because of that emotional commitment with those to whom they deliver services and on behalf of whom they advocate. So I think it's a really interesting area, and it will be a much more important part of our business leadership training, just as it is in the United States. If you visit Stanford now, or Harvard, or MIT, or Kellogg's, any of those great business management institutions, you will see that a key part of what they teach is about corporate social responsibility on the one hand and not-for-profit management on the other. And I think it's really important that Australia does the same.